Hi and welcome to the Matrix Fitness live workout. My name's Matt and today we're going to take you through a conditioning workout where we're going to do 3 rounds of exercises. Each round will have 2 circuits and we will take you through some cardiovascular work, some core work and a little bit more cardiovascular work in our 3rd round as well. We're going to take you through a warm-up. I'll do every single repetition or a comfortable piece of clothing like a baggy jump or something like that. Open up your arms, stretching through the shoulders, starting to activate some of these muscles. And at the same time, just to get a little bit of mobility, all the way through the arms, ready for the workout ahead. Now let's take you into a little bit of rotation, just pivoting off your feet with your arms rotating around about shoulder height. And you can see as I start to move here, moving through the ankles, the hips, and also through my upper spine, just going to get a little bit of rotation, which will help get everything moving well, and also get ready for one of our first exercises we're going to do, which is going to be a kick sit as well. I'll explain more about the exercises as we come through, but let's begin by starting to get the legs prepared for this workout as well, just by lowering your hips down towards your heels, taking yourself into a squat position. And the goal here is to keep your back straight, and just to help you try and get a little bit more blood and strengthening movements into these legs, ready for some exercises. So what we're going to try and do is to get the joints to move and your back to stay nice and stable as we go through, and I'll coach you and give you the things to think about which will help you do the exercises correctly. What we're going to do next is take a step back into a deep lunge, a little bit better as well. Just start to hit that jump from side to side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to split the feet going forwards and backwards, just to start to push you off the floor. Okay, now let's take you into a little bit of a punching movement. So hands up by the side of your head, you're going to jab, cross, jab, jump 180 degrees, and again jab, cross, jab. Each time you're throwing these punches, what you do is to keep a little bit of force coming through the arms, so you're starting to dynamically move through the shoulders in preparation for some of our strength exercises coming up. And you're also going to notice that I'm pivoting off my feet, which just allows me to create that little bit of mobility through my ankles as well. So nice dynamic movement, maintaining your heart rate coming up, but also keeping your technique pretty good as well. Okay, loosen yourself up here. Let's take you into a jumping jack so we can start to get your heart rates up a little bit further. And also by moving into this jumping position with your legs going wide, we're going to be better prepared for some of our positions that we're going to take you into. We have got a few jump exercises coming into today's workout, but I will give you alternatives if you feel like that's uncomfortable for you as well. Okay, just loosen your body. Let's do a few knee strikes. So reaching your arms up high, feet over the diagonal angle. Drive your knee up 3 times, reaching your arms down, pivot over to the opposite side, and again, drive your knee up. So a couple more times on each side. So big drive of the knee. This not only gets the joints warmed up, but it also starts to prepare your hips for some of our core exercises that we're going to do as well. So drive that knee high, reaching the arms tall, and just loosen your body out. Now let me show you the first exercise we're going to do. Hands are going to come down onto the floor. You're going to pivot off the foot and sit over to the side. Then you're going to pivot on your foot, back to the center, over to the opposite side. Let's go for 45 seconds together. Now you've got a few options here. You can release one hand off the floor, which will just give you a little bit more room to pivot and to sit down across your body. If you can keep both hands on the floor, what that's going to do is it's going to start to challenge your mobility a little bit more, because you've got a tighter space to kick your foot across the side of your body. So you've got 2 options, hands stay down, or the hands can start to lift up and allow you to sit down at 90 degrees to the rest of the body. Last 5 seconds, then we'll take you through to our second exercise as well. Okay, relax there. Shake your legs out. The next exercise is a jump, squat, cross. So down into a squat position, you're going to jump across the legs, jump back into position, and then down into a squat. If you don't want to jump, then all I ask you to do is just a squat in this position as well. Let's go for 45 seconds, adding in the jump if you feel like that's comfortable for you to do. Now, as we will do a second circuit for these exercises, it means that you can start to take from these progressions So try it first. If it doesn't feel good, then take it into whatever adaptation you need to do. And if you start to feel a little bit better, maybe your body just needs a little bit of a prolonged warm-up, you can always add these into your second circuit of exercise as well. So deep squat position, keeping the back straight like we mentioned in the warm-up, low down into the floor, hips go down towards the heels with your weight equal between both feet and your heels down. Have a breathe there. The next exercise we're going to do is a lunge. So get yourself down into a lunge position. We're going to step over into a forward lunge and step back into a reverse lunge. We'll be doing this for 20 seconds, then swapping legs. Let's go. So just like in the warm-up, weight is equal between both feet. Lower the back knee down towards the floor. And again, try and keep your back straight. Good. Last couple of repetitions, and we're going to swap the legs over. Okay, swapping the legs over now. So you're pivoting off the opposite leg, still doing that same motion, but you've got the one leg which is stuck onto the floor, and the other leg is pivoting over the top into these big ranges of movement. And relax there. Let's do those three exercises again, starting with our kick sits, our squat, jump, cross, and our step over lunge as well. Hands come down to the floor. Ready for the first exercise, starting in 5, 3, 2, kick sit. Reach over to one side with your foot. You can take the hand off the floor, or you can keep both hands on the floor, which will challenge your mobility a little bit more. You pick the intensity that you want to work to. Just try and pivot off the feet, sitting sideways to your ankle point. So as those hands are stuck down onto the floor, anchored in position, you're rotating 90 degrees with your body, kicking the foot in between the ankle and the hand. Each time you sit down, see if you can sit with a straight spine, and your head looks up slightly, just to maintain that posture as well. And relax there. Okay, second exercise is our squat, jump, cross. Option of just taking yourself into a squat or adding in this dynamic movement if you'd like to. Start in 5 seconds time. Get the weight equal between both feet in 3, 2, squat, cross. Alternate the foot in front each time. The deep range is important to us, as is the speed of the movement of the legs. So if there's too much work for you, take a slight regression as we've already explained. Just push off of the floor as quick as possible. Get out in that deep squat. Back up into midair. We are going to be coming back with a similar exercise as our penultimate exercise of the day as well. 5 seconds to go. And relax there. Okay, step over lunges to finish this first round. Let's get down into a deep lunge position. Got a little bit of time to allow your breathing to come back to you. 4, 3, big step over the top, let's move. Making sure the back knee comes down towards the floor, keeping your spine straight. Making sure that when you take yourself into those lunge positions, your front knee is over the foot, and we're trying to get a vertical shin as well. That way then you know, let's swap the legs over, like the foot position is going to be correct. It will give you the best chance of stability and maintain good form. Good, last 5 seconds, keep that dynamic movement going over the top and relax there. Let's grab a mat ready for our second round of exercises. Okay, let's get you down onto a seated position, onto your seat bones. From here, extend your arms and your legs. Lift your feet up for me and hold this position. This is your boat pose. Roll the shoulders back and down, so you've got a straight spine. Options are extending your legs is going to make it more challenging. If you need a regression, You can rest your feet onto the floor and maybe challenge yourself by leaning back slightly as well. Alternatively, the hands can go on the floor for a bit of stability, or they can go behind you if you really need to as well. And then you can just lift the legs back up. So lots of options of ways that you can progress or regress these exercises. The goal is to have that straight spine, shoulder blades pull down to your back pockets, holding that position. We've got 3 core exercises. Let's take through the next one. So rest down onto the floor, lie your back flat down for me this time. This exercise is called a reverse crunch. You're going to bring your feet together, knees together, and have them at 90 degrees. You're going to push in towards the floor of your hands and push up towards the ceiling, or if you're enjoying a bit of sunshine, out towards the sky. Maintain that big range of movement if you can. You're trying to get as much height as possible, and then just reset yourself so your spine is neutral onto the floor, and then push against the floor to help give you that vertical lift. And ideally, what you're looking for is for your lower back to cut off the floor as you reach your feet up towards the ceiling. And each time come back to that neutral spine position with the knees at 90-degree bends at the hip. And relax there. Now the last exercise we're going to do in this round is a heel drop. So again, coming back to that 90-degree bend, you're going to lower one heel towards the floor, bring it back in towards you, and alternate to the opposite side. In 3, 2, let's go. Extending one leg out at a time, then bring that foot back in towards you, and you alternate the legs. Now, if you want to make this a little bit easier, your alternative would be to actually keep the legs from having a bend. So by straightening the legs even further, you actually start to challenge your core muscles a little bit more. So option of the bend of the knee is a little bit easier. The longer the leg goes, the slightly harder this exercise is going to be as well. We will do this a second round as well, and that means I'll give you another progression. If you find that this exercise is quite a comfortable one for your level of ability, I'll give you an option as well. Last 3 seconds, then we go back to our boat pose, sitting yourself up, realign yourself back to the center. Let's get your spine in a nice straight position. Arms out extended, lower yourself back, and you might just find a little bit of shaking in your stomach muscles. That would indicate that you've got a balance point here. Lift the heel up, bring both feet together if you can, holding this boat pose. The further your legs are extended out in front of you, the harder it's going to be. If you want to make it slightly easy, you can rest your heels down on the floor, or alternatively, your hands can be rested onto the floor, and you can just hold the legs up. Any of these options will start to work a little bit into a different level of intensity, but your goal here is to find some stability and some balance works on your seat bones, and you're going to start to feel like your hips are starting to work. So a bit of durability in the hips here, but we will give them a really good stretch at the end of the workout. This can be a tough exercise if you're doing it correctly. Try and hold that position. Last 5 seconds coming up, making sure your shoulder blades are pulled back and down, nice straight spine, and relax there. Let's bring you into that reverse crunch position. So this is where the hands are flat onto the floor, spine all pressed against the floor. We're going to bring your legs in, and we reach them upwards and reset. In 3, 2, let's go. Push against the floor to lift your feet up in a vertical direction towards the ceiling, or if you're enjoying that weather, out towards the sky as well. Try and get that big range of movement if you can, but any sort of direction that you can push into is great. Think about exhaling as you reach your feet up, inhaling as you reset your spine, exhale, reach up, inhale, reset. You're going to start to find these muscles are starting to work, so just take your time, don't rush the movement. I don't want you using too much momentum, but there will be a little bit of a rock in towards your body, and then push yourself up off the floor if you can. Okay, last exercise is going to be our heel drops. So again, we start by 90 degrees with each leg, and then from here, hands down onto the floor, extend one heel down towards the floor, bring it back into you. Now, I said I'd give you a progression. If you would like to, you can lower both heels down at the same time, and then bring both legs in towards you. So again, this is your option of a progression if you'd like to. And if you need a regression, you're looking at the bend in the knee and just lowering down that one heel at a time. So you pick your intensity. The longer the legs, the harder it's going to be. And doing 2 legs at the same time is going to be harder as well. So we've got just over 10 seconds left to go. Keep focusing on a straight spine. Control that core motion. And relax there. Okay, let's turn you over onto your front. We're going to stay onto the floor. Now, our third round of exercises here, we're going to start with an exercise called a floor jack. So the hands are in a press-up position underneath the shoulders, feet off the mat, and your goal here is to jump the legs wide and narrow. Now, I don't need you to rush here. I'd rather you to keep a steady rhythm going, but at the same time, try to keep your eyes looking down towards your hands, and try to think about squeezing your shoulder blades together, and that will start to keep your hips down rather than lifting up. And at the same time, start to activate a few more of the muscles as well. Just over halfway, so just keep that rhythm going. If you need an easier option, you can just step 1 foot out at a time. And if you would like a harder option, you can pick up the tempo, but maintain your breathing at the same time. I don't want you to go so quick that you'll have to hold your breath, and that's when you can start to suffer as well. Now, rest down. Now, bring yourself up to a standing position. We're going to do another cardiovascular exercise where it's going to push your heart rate a little bit more. It's called an explode. Feet are into a wide squat position, down towards the floor. You're going to bring your feet together and back out into that squat position. So this is your explode. If you would like to add in a jump where your heels come together and they return back into that squat position, then that's absolutely fine. That would be your progression. The regression would just be a basic squat here. So again, you've got 3 exercises as an option. If you want to just do a squat, if you want to jump your feet into the center of the mat, or if you wanted to bring your heels together and jump back into that wide position as well. You can see I've got my hands in front of me the whole time. This means that you can't use any momentum of your arms, so that could be something that you might want to add in as well. 5 seconds to go. And rest there. Let's show you the last exercise, which is going to be a bear core. So down onto the floor, your hands are going to be rested in front of you. And what you're going to do here is lift your knees off the floor, and we're going to move sideways. Right hand and right leg move at the same time. Left hand and left leg also move at the same time as well. You're trying to keep your knees down towards the floor, so you can keep this long range movement without suffering from your back going into a rounded position. So try to keep your back straight by using opposite arm and opposite leg at the same time, and try to think about keeping your knees close to the floor so your lower body gets a workout at the same time as the upper body, and that means that the core is working harder as well. Good, just over 5 seconds to go, and we'll take you through these 3 exercises again. So rest down onto the floor. We've got our floor jacks to begin with. So let's get yourself into a press-up position. And the goal here is going to be to jump the feet wide and back into a narrow start. Starting in 5 seconds, let's prepare your position. And let's start to move. Jumping your feet out and narrow. Option is just to tap the toe, alternating those legs. If you want to make it harder again, a quicker tempo, but maintain a steady breathing. Try not to hold your breath when doing this exercise. It can be tough for the upper body, so if you need to take a breather, that's absolutely fine. Especially after doing those bear cores, the shoulders can start to fatigue a little bit as well. Last 3, 2, and 1. Let's get you ready for those explodes. Bring yourself back up to a standing position. Remember there are 3 options here, so it's a basic squat, jumping your feet into the center, or the heels coming up into midair as well. Starting in 3, 2, let's go. Squat. You pick the intensity you want to work to this time. Try and get down into that deep squat position, so when you jump upwards, you feel like you're having to work quickly with your feet to push off the floor and get them back into position again as well. Big range of movement, lots of depth if you can. Last 20 seconds of work to go. Remember the options that you've got if you're starting to fatigue. Just get yourself to jump into the center of the mat or take yourself into a basic squat as well. 10 seconds left to go. Let's get you working. This will be your chance to get your heart rates up before we go into the bear crawls and then some stretching. Okay, let's bring it down to the floor. Hands underneath your shoulders again. Knees directly underneath your hips. And we're going to move the right arm and right leg at the same time, moving across your body and then back in towards the center. Let's get moving. Keep working in a strong position here. Hand and foot move at the same time. Try and keep your back straight. Knees close to the floor. Eyes looking down between your hands. The last 5 seconds to come. And rest there. Okay, we'll stay in the center here, just taking you through a few stretches. So staying in a kneeling position, let the hands come behind you. Interlock your hands behind the back. Lift your hands away from the lower back and just start to feel a stretch through the chest and the shoulder muscles again. You can drop your ear to one shoulder. Come back to the center, over to the opposite side. Good, now bring the arms around in front of you. Think about a giant inflatable ball blowing upwards. It pushes your arms out a little bit wider, so you get a deep stretch coming through the back. Good, excellent. And loosen yourself up. While we're down towards the floor, let's take you into a couple of up dog and down dog positions. So what we're going to do is place your hands underneath your shoulders. Keeping your knees on the floor, I'm just going to lower my hips towards the floor. Roll my shoulders back and look up, maybe towards where the wall and the ceiling meet. Maybe looking up towards the sky, just so you start to feel a stretch through the front of your hips. Now with the toes tucked underneath the body, push into a down facing dog. This is where the hands push against the floor, your hips go high, and you look towards your toes. Now just pedal 1 foot at a time into a walking position here. Now from this position, lower your hips down towards the floor again, but this time they're not going to touch the floor. You're going to look upwards, again, roll the shoulders back and down, feel a stretch at the front of the hips, and then again, push back into your down facing dog. Now if you've got tightness in your hamstrings or through the back of your legs, or even into your lower back, you might not find that your heels touch the floor, but work with your breath to see if you can develop that stretch a little further to get you down there. Good. Now from here, lifting 1 foot up, we're going to swing that foot forward so it's close towards your hands. Now it hasn't quite got there, just wiggle your foot forwards and then extend the arm up. Push your back heel away from the rest of the body. This is the world's greatest running stretch. One of the best stretches you can do to really start to stretch through the hips and rotate through the shoulders at the same time. Now bring that hand back inside the foot, step back to down facing dog, and over to the opposite side, and again reach up. Push the back heel away, try to lengthen and stretch through the body. Be mindful of your breathing. Bring the hand down inside the foot again, back to down facing dog. Now rest the knees onto the floor. Now drop the hips down towards your heels. I want you just to think about walking your fingertips forwards and allow your head to rest in between your arms, maybe even touch the floor. Okay, now slowly, when you're ready, roll up through each vertebra of the spine. And again, just loosen up through the body. Let's take into a little bit of a balanced position where we're going to stretch through the thighs a little bit more. So standing onto one leg, bring 1 foot up into the palm of your hand. Have a slight bend in that standing leg and try and straighten through the spine. Push your foot into the palm of your hand, just to develop that stretch on the quadriceps and also the front of your hip a little further. When you're ready, place that back down onto the floor and swap over to the opposite side. Again, balancing on that standing foot. Push the foot into the palm of your hand that you're holding. Think about bringing your knees together and push the front of the hip forward slightly. Quite often you'll feel a little bit more of a stretch for the hip, especially after that second round of core exercises. You definitely use the hip flexors quite a bit there. Okay, now just shake out the rest of the body. Thank you very much for joining me for this matrix workout. My name's Matt. We look forward to seeing you on Thursday at 7:45 in the morning, 12 o'clock midday, and also 5 o'clock on Thursday evening as well. We look forward to seeing you then. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.